Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. Manchester United 3, Bournemouth 0, and Manchester United move up to joint third place with Newcastle. Only goal difference is holding us back as the battle rages in the live chat about who the man of the match was. Remember, the link is in the video description. Mark every player out of 10, 6 being the average. Star for your man of the match. We'll get into that in a minute. Is it De Gea? Is it Shaw? Is it Casemiro? Get involved and we'll get into that. But I want to start off by saying, I almost feel that because the press and our ex-players had no idea who Ten Hag was and wanted Pochettino or Simeone or whoever else was the manager that they thought was going to be right, I think there's a massive amount of disrespect around Erik Ten Hag that people don't actually realise what he's all about. It's like he, jumped off a Christmas tree and said, "Can I have a job?" This is a guy that has won the Eredivisie. This is a guy that's been to a Champions League semi-final. This is a guy that has built teams at a high level and played Champions League football consistently. It's almost a surprise that Erik Ten Hag is building a team that can rotate and do enough to win games of football. And 3-0 was the right scoreline tonight. There was times where it felt to me like under Solskjaer or Rangnick or Mourinho or Van Gaal, that would have been one of the many disappointing performances at Old Trafford where it's 0-0 at half-time and we either win it late on or we draw it. Not under Erik Ten Hag. It's a different world, it's a different time, and it's a different manager. And the reason he is able to do this now consistently is not because he's suddenly found the magic potion. It's because he's managed Ajax. And he knows that, how many games do Ajax play, home and away, where they're expected to win? But they don't play scintillating football every game. They sometimes have to grind a result out. They sometimes have to win 2 or 3-0 in third gear. And I think this has helped United massively. There is no doubt that Ten Hag is an obsessive coach with a very clear way of playing football and a very, definitive plan. But I think he's also given this team something it's not really ever had. The ability to score goals in games at times where we haven't done in the past. We would have gone 0-0 at half-time 9 times out of 10 in most home games we've played in the last 5 years, the way we were playing in the first half. But we get a set piece and we score from it. And then in the second half, we go and get the second and third goal without doing much different from the first half. We just kept going about our job and believed in what we're doing. And so much of that is the imprint of the manager. He knows from his time at Ajax how to win these types of games. He also knows that you're never going to play in fifth gear every single week. And he's taught this team how to win when you're not playing at your absolute best. Now, we didn't win. There's a difference. Winning when you're playing badly is a great thing. We didn't win playing badly. We won in third gear. There's a big difference. We didn't play badly. We just never really got going, but we still won 3-0. And that's been the story against Forest, and that's been the story against Wolves, and that's been the story against Bournemouth. And that's 9 points that we wouldn't normally get. So I want to put a bit of respect on Erik Ten Hag here because, yes, he's doing great things, but he's also brought a mentality to this team that we are now winning games that we used to win very regularly under a very, very good manager in Sir Alex Ferguson. You would get Bournemouth and Forest at home and you would go 3-0. Job done. Just enjoy it. And it's been many a year since we've done that. Now, we were winning titles when we did that with Sir Alex. We're still a long way from that. But it's a very good thing that we are now in a position where we can go into games and go, yeah, we'll win that. And I did a little bit. Some people said I was being arrogant, but I did it on Instagram earlier. There's a story I did on Instagram where I was like, we'll win this comfortably. Now, admittedly, there was a bit of a sharp intake of breath when I saw the team. But again, this is Ten Hag. He can rotate that team and still get results. Casemiro is my man of the match today. What a player. I'm really enjoying the football this season. Thank you, Ten Hag, says Jack. Hope Donny is okay. He was playing well, says Ruben. Yeah, thoughts go out to Donny. It doesn't look good, but hopefully it won't be too bad. How many interceptions did we make? Clean sheets for days, says Lewis. And what impressed me the most is we won 3-0 with Ollie's back four. Look, the funny thing is, apart from Luke Shaw, I thought that the back four, Wan-Bissaka was okay, but I actually thought Lindelof and Maguire were, well, we'll see what you think in the player ratings. I don't think they were particularly special. I thought Luke Shaw was special. I actually think David De Gea deserves a shout out. Still people think we need to buy a goalkeeper, and I'm like, his distribution today was fantastic, but he made 3 brilliant saves and probably 2 okay saves. I thought David De Gea was absolutely incredible tonight, absolutely superb, and he won't get man of the match. But you know, when you deep it, David De Gea's saves that he made today, at really important times. I mean, when it's 3-0, it doesn't matter, but there was times at 2-0 where we made two fantastic saves. Shaw's my man of the match this grand. We'll get your votes in. We're going to do them in a couple of minutes. It's interesting to see Arsenal play some beautiful football versus Newcastle, while United's play was not that scintillating, but got the results, says Stephen. Look, if you want a bit of cynic, and I don't want to be cynical, if you want me to be a bit cynical, we should be beating Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth. They're both going to get relegated, and Wolves are in the bottom three. We should be taking 9 points from Wolves, Bournemouth and Forest. That's the only cynical thing I would say, is that we should be winning those games. How much have we learned from those games? Because they're 3 of the worst teams in the league. But we've got every right to be massively positive, because the manner in which we won those games was very, very good, and we rotated. But also, we wouldn't normally win those 3 games over the last 10 years. So we've got every right, when you get rivals going, oh God, you've only beaten Bournemouth, Wolves and Forest. But for us, that is progression. And when you're starting from a very low point, we have got every right to acknowledge that and say it's good. I mean, let's not forget, it's only last May that we saw the worst ever Premier League Manchester United side. So in the following January, to be taking 9 points like that quite comfortably, I think we've got every right to see that as progression and improvement. But of course, you know, there's a massive part on me. Alfie Smith says the back 5 was on fire. I think you're drunk, Alfie. In good form, new owners hopefully coming soon. For once, I have a glimmer of hope. Your thoughts, says the Terror. And even at his best, Maguire is not a player good enough, says Keir. Sorry, Alfie, I cut you up a little bit there. I'm not having that the back 5 was on fire. There was plenty of times in that second half and first half where those centre-backs were making me, you know, take deep breaths. I don't think we actually were not on fire. The back 5 was not on fire, mate. It was not. I'm sorry, it just wasn't on fire. We conceded a hell of a lot of chances that a lot of better teams would score from. You know, De Gea made big saves in that game. I'm not bothered about it, because that's not our back 5. Casemiro, Varane, Martinez is our back. Casemiro in front of that is our best lineup. But they had 4 shots on target. They had 7 shots, 4 shots on target. We had 6 shots on target. So we did concede a lot, but I thought Luke Shaw was good. 9 points off the top. We are realistically in a title race. No, we're not, Finnan. That doesn't help. Why do English pundits judge players like Casemiro as steady, but players like Declan Rice as world class, as Abhishek? Watch a neutral game and analyse the ref in particular, says Smoked. And welcome to the Members Club, Stuart Humphreys. Appreciate that. But yeah, look, what I was saying there about the performance, it's so important to go and start winning these types of games, and we are comfortably in the top 4 now. And look, I'm going to say it, I don't really want to talk about it. I don't, as Max says, there's no room for negativity, because rotate. What surprised me was when we saw the team news come out, a lot of people were getting really negative, and I'm like, the reason I won't put us in the top 4 even now is because I know how many games we've got to play. We're not even halfway through the season yet. So Anthony's injured. Donny's just gone off injured. We don't know when Sancho's going to be back. Casemiro gets injured and we are screwed. I can just see that as well as things are going at the moment, we're going to have a dip, aren't we? We know we're going to have a dip, and the dip is going to be because of the squad, the depth of the squad. So for me, seeing Ten Hag rotate the team today, I loved it, because my big issue with us getting top 4 is I don't think we've got the squad for it. So if he can bring Maguire and Lindelof in, and Donny in, and Wan-Bissaka plays, and Dalot doesn't play, and, you know, if he can rest a few players against Bournemouth at home and get 3 points, I mean, that's how we'll get top 4, because we won't get top 4 playing the same team every 3 days. We can't do it. So you're going to get sharp intakes of breath. Of course you are, because when you drop off the quality, you're going to get that. I mean, I suspect against Everton, we might see Casemiro rested and McTominay start, which will weaken us and give Everton a bit of a chance, but we should still be good enough. That's what we did today. In a sentence, he gambled. He took a risk. He made a calculated risk that he could drop and rest a few key first team players and still have enough to beat Bournemouth. And he did. And we did. And that's very, very good man management. And he's going to have to gamble a little bit more. He's going to have to do it in other games. We'll have to do it against Charlton next week. We won't be able to do that away to Arsenal. We won't be able to do that at home to Man City. He's going to have to play his best team then, but he's got to try and protect it. And look, Anthony didn't play today, wasn't even on the bench. Donny's probably going to be out for a long period of time. We have got to bring João Felix in. João Felix can play at number 10, he can play on the right, he can play on the left, and he can play at number 9. Martial is staying fit at the moment, but we know about his injury issues. Marcus Rashford can't stop scoring at the moment. How long can he keep that going? Will he be hit by fatigue? We have no other 10 other than Bruno. I think João Felix on a loan deal. I know they don't want to pay the money, but I think it's very logical because he can play multiple positions. And I'd hate this season to fall apart because we just don't have the numbers. And at the moment, don't know what the issue is with Anthony. Hopefully it's a little knock. But if he's out for a few weeks, Donny could be out for a few months. Sancho's not back yet. You don't want to be rushing somebody back with the issues he's had. We've got to be very clever in this January transfer market. Thanks everyone who's tuning in, by the way. Make sure you smash a like on the video. Florrie says, another solid performance, 3 points. De Gea and Casemiro leading the way. New owners coming. Let's go. Van de Beek injury makes someone like João Felix now a must, says Nick. Can play as a false 9 and now also be the Fernandes backup at 10. Need multifunctional. Completely agree. And it can be arrogant from me, but with a proper striker, we can battle for the title this season, says Desiree. I'm going to stick up for Anthony Martial. There was one chance he should have scored. It was the cross from Casemiro. But it's still a graveyard shift playing for Manchester United. We, in the first half, didn't really create anything. The goal we scored was a set piece. As I say, normally it would have been 0-0 at half-time. In the second half, we started to create chances because Bournemouth opened up a bit and wanted to have a go. And before we got the second goal, I think the keeper made 2 or 3 saves. One from Dalot, one from Bruno, one from Garnacho. I think Garnacho hit the post. So the third goal was coming, the game opened up. But Martial wasn't on the pitch then. So Martial does a lot of work. He runs the channels, he does the holds-ups, he makes runs for others to create space. It's a graveyard shift. And I think it's too easy to say Martial had a quiet game and he was shit. It's easy to say he had a quiet game and he should have scored the Casemiro goal. But it's still a very difficult job to play up front for Manchester United. And I don't think it can be solved by... What I'm trying to say is, I think if you put Osimhen up front tonight, I don't think he scores a hat-trick because the chances aren't there for him to score a hat-trick. We do need another number 9, I agree, but we still need to work on creating the chances for the number 9. Rashford and Bruno had, I would say, an average game. It wasn't one of their better games. But right at the end, Luke Shaw plays a brilliant ball, Bruno gets a very simple assist, and Rashford gets a very simple goal. Martial's gone off by that point, so he doesn't get it. SK says, Felix is now a must with Donny and Anthony. Kazza option there is nobody. We're hoping for Martial to kick on and Sancho to come. It's positive results, but you're right, you can see it turn very quickly. And Mark, back in May, did you even think we'd be top 4 at this moment? Perhaps we won't finish top 4. However, credit is owed to the manager and the squad. I couldn't be more proud, says Clinton. Completely agree. And I also agree that it's not a warning, it's an inevitability. This league is ridiculous. I mean, I actually thought Bournemouth played better than I thought they were. I don't think they ever looked like they were going to get a result, but they did play better than I thought. It is a very competitive league, and I think bar 1 or 2 teams, it's dangerous. And all right, Liverpool lost to Brentford, but we lost to Brentford. I don't think going to Brentford and losing is a shock anymore. And we will have dips. The thing that is stopping us from getting dips, before I do the player ratings here, the thing that is stopping us from dipping at the moment is individual moments from people like David De Gea, Casemiro, Marcus Rashford and Luke Shaw. Basically, those sort of things are winning us games. Because a goalkeeper saving an inevitable goal is like scoring a goal. Casemiro popping up with the goal from a set piece, and like Rashford did against Forest last week, they're winning you the games. And at the moment, I'd fancy us against anybody because we're not conceding and we've always got a goal in us. If we can keep that going till the end of the season, we will get top 4. But I think the way this season is and the lack of squad options, I think it's inevitable at some point we will have a dip or two. I hope not, but I think we will. And I, for one, cannot wait. I say I cannot wait to play Man City and Arsenal. I can't wait for those games. Those for me are the games that really get you excited. And I'm going to do the player ratings now. If you've not done yours, mark every player out of 10, 6 being the average. But, you know, I think that we are going to really see where we're at. We're going to really see where we are against Man City and Arsenal. I did keep an eye on the Arsenal-Newcastle game, and Newcastle grew into that game. There's no reason why we can't go and do that as well. Man City at home has to be a statement game for us. I mean, look, our next league game is Man City. We've got Everton on Friday night in the Cup. I think we'll go quite strong. We've got Charlton in the Cup on the Tuesday. I think we'll go like we did tonight, and then we'll go fully strong against Man City. And that's going to be a huge test. You know what? I'm going to say it. Against Man City and Arsenal, I want 4 points. I want 4 points. I don't mind drawing the derby if we beat Arsenal at the Emirates. I don't mind beating Man City and drawing at the Emirates. But I want 4 points from those because I think they will be the differential. Newcastle dominated Chelsea, Liverpool and City. We dominated Newcastle. That's champions for you. Still top of the league, says Zayn Miasi. And a good result for sure, but we looked shaky in moments, especially in the first half. Some sloppy passing and slow out of the back at times. But Kenna, look, we're about to start the player ratings now. Can I just say, we were a bit sloppy. I was a bit nervous at times about the defence, but we played Maguire and Lindelof, not Martinez and Varane. We also played Donny at 10, not Bruno. We had Bruno on the wing. So, look, you can understand in the first half, we weren't as good as we can be because we didn't play our starting centre-backs. We didn't play our starting 10. So, you know, that's your spine as well. And let's not forget, Luke Shaw is probably our third best centre-back at the moment behind, Martinez and Varane. So you can understand why it wasn't. It was a calculated risk by Ten Hag. He wanted to rest some players and he rotated and it worked. David De Gea for me tonight, 7.5. And I agree with the 7.6. I can't put 0.5s in, so I always go just below. So 7.5 for me from De Gea. It didn't actually matter. I think we would have won the game anyway without the world-class saves. But the saves were world-class. The distribution is becoming more and more consistent. It was a faultless performance from a very, very good goalkeeper. I hope we are going to sign on a new contract very, very soon because we've got plenty of issues in that team. We need another midfielder. We need another centre-back. We need a right-back. We need a striker. We don't need a goalkeeper. And it's fantastic that he's doing so well because it's something we don't need to concern ourselves with. Get him on a new contract. Get a decent keeper that's happy to be a backup and move on. Wan-Bissaka, probably a 6.5 for me tonight. Again, we're not far off. 6.6 from you. Look, Wan-Bissaka has come in and done a very, very good job. A few people have been saying that we need to keep Wan-Bissaka. I don't mind Wan-Bissaka staying till the summer. But the problem you've got with Wan-Bissaka is, as soon as Dalot came on, people were like, oh my God, he's brilliant. Dalot did nothing different to what he was doing before he was injured. He's just a much better right back. He suits the system better. He knows the system better. He becomes a winger, an inverted right back, defensive. Wan-Bissaka's just a very, very good defensive right back. But going forward, he ain't got a bloody patch on Dalot. We can't afford to keep Wan-Bissaka and Dalot because they're both starting right backs. I don't mind us doing it till the summer if Wan-Bissaka's happy to do it. But you start one and you move the other on because we need to do what we've done with Malacia. We need a younger developmental right back to play under and challenge the senior right back. And the senior right back for me is Dalot. Redemption for Wan-Bissaka. He's won me over, says Bashir. But is he going to be happy? Is he going to be happy sitting on the bench now for the next 5 months playing here and there? Keep Wan-Bissaka for backup when we inevitably sell Maguire, says Roscoe. You know Wan-Bissaka's not a centre-back. Never has been a centre-back. Never will be a centre-back. Lindelof for me was a 6. Average. Didn't do anything wrong. Steady. I played the game. Steady Eddie from Victor Lindelof. And Maguire, I'm going to be generous and give him a 6 as well. I don't really differentiate the two. I was tempted to give him a 5.5, but I want to be positive. I gave Wan-Bissaka a 6.5 NGO. If you don't listen to how it gets allocated, then that's not my problem. I would give Harry Maguire a 6 average with Lindelof. Yes, he makes me very nervous, but we kept a clean sheet, and you know, I'm not going to go negative on 2 players that did okay, but you know, we need to move them on in the summer. It's all right doing it against Bournemouth at home, but I tell you what, if we were away to Leeds or something like that, I think they'd cost us a goal. As a pair, I don't mind Lindelof individually, and I don't mind Maguire individually sometimes, but as a pair, they'll cost us goals. Like they're just they just make me very, very nervous. But you know what? In fairness to them, when you're used to watching Martinez and Varane, and then you see Maguire and Lindelof, it's like being used to having steak and chips, and then you come home and you're having beans on toast. It's not their fault. They're not that level. They are backup centre-backs now. That's what they are. Luke Shaw for me would be an 8 tonight, and I agree with that. 8. Absolutely fantastic performance. To come off 2 brilliant performances as a left-sided centre-back in a back 4, then go back to your old position of left-back and put in a performance like that. Very intelligent player. Very, fit player in relation to his ability to go back and forward. And his passing is improving as well. I think it's something that Ten Hag has worked on with both fullbacks. You know, their passing, their angled passing, their crossing, and we're benefiting from it. And I thought Luke Shaw arguably could be man of the match tonight. In fact, I am going to give him man of the match. He's going to get my man of the match. Casemiro gets a 7.5 for me. I thought his first half performance, he was probably an 8, and then I'd give him a second half performance as a 7. The highest accolade I can give to Casemiro is this. If you don't have Casemiro in that team, what happens? And if you don't have Casemiro in that team, I think you're the team we've always been. 0-0. Struggling to get a goal to win a game. I think he just gives so much dominance in an area where we've had none. I've spent the last 4 years chatting with you good people saying we need a CDM, we need a CDM. And we've seen managers ignore a CDM and buy a winger or a centre-back or a striker and give them 400 grand a week, but not buy a CDM. It's stunning how naive the punditry world and, actual football world can be to what your issues are. And I feel that I and every one of you who've said we needed a CDM for the last 4 years is now sat smugly going, I told you so. We had managers of Man United who couldn't see this. We had ex-players on the telly who couldn't see it. Journalists who couldn't see it. But the fans could. And that's what you get when you watch a team every week. That's what you get when you're a fan. And in Casemiro, we've gone and got one of the best there is in the world. And he's been absolutely fantastic. And I would just say, that, you know what? It's the question is not how good is Casemiro. The question is what would we be without him? And I tell you for free, we wouldn't be in the top 4. Is it me, or did Casemiro shift to the back line when Martinez came on? Either way, the system is coming out across the whole squad. Still need a striker, says Ben. Eric Ten Hag started his interview by admitting that we had lots of flaws in our game today, even though we won 3-0. Refreshing to finally have a proper manager. Well, I said that, Mario. I said that. Niven, welcome to the Members Club. 1-0 up at half-time. I said that the team talk that Ten Hag will give would be the same if it was 0-0. We're only in front because of a set piece. We need to do more in the second half. Casemiro is the best player in the Premier League right now, says Dan, and I wouldn't disagree with you. Eriksen, probably 6.5 for me tonight, 6.7 for you. Yeah, I mean, I think Eriksen is just doing his job. He's a fundamental piece in the system. I guarantee if you sat down with Ten Hag, he would big up Eriksen massively. His role is somewhat underrated, but he is so important in the system. Obviously, it was his, again, another set piece from Eriksen for the first goal. I think Eriksen, admittedly, has probably not been as good as he has been for the first 2 months of the season, but he's still so important in the team, and we couldn't do without him. Donny, I'd give him a 6. I mean, it's very difficult to give him anything else. I thought he was having an okay game, and the injury, it's just ridiculously unlucky. If he didn't see it, he just got impacted on his right knee by a slide through from the Bournemouth defender, and hyperextended his knee. It could be heavily bruised, hopefully, or it could be ligament damage, which is going to put him out potentially for the season, which is not what we need, because Donny was showing signs of being, an important, rotational player, and if that disappears, that leaves us even weaker. I thought Bruno today was probably a 6.5 for me. I'd agree with the 6.3. Lots of endeavour, lots of effort, but it felt to me with Bruno and Rashford tonight that they knew they were playing Bournemouth and they were probably trying things and shots and balls that I don't think they would play at Anfield, which is fine, but it just it was a little bit sloppy at times from Bruno, but got his assist. You can never doubt the effort. Same with Rashford for me. I'd give him a 6.5. I know people will boost him because he can't stop scoring at the moment, and goal scorers always take the prize. But look, the thing about Rashford is he's dangerous. He's dangerous. And Bruno's dangerous, but Rashford at the moment is dangerous. And, it's so important that he is, if he's tied against Everton, put him on the bench. We absolutely, when you've got a striker or an attacker in form who can't stop scoring, you don't want to stop them scoring. So we've got to do everything we can to protect Rashford as well. Excuse me, let me have a drink of water. Martial, graveyard shift, but should have scored a goal. I give him a 6. I think the positives with Martial are he's staying fit. There's still a lot more to come. I think he lacks sharpness. That's probably because he wasn't at the World Cup. I think all the players that weren't at the World Cup don't look completely sharp at the moment. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say that Martial looks like he's unlucky. I'm not going to sit here and say that Martial looks like he's on fire. I'm going to sit here and say that he's fit, and he's a player that I gave you a 10 mark earlier, says Diz, thanks for all you do. Thank you very much, mate. I think with Martial, we've just got to, keep working at it. With Martial, he can hit a vein of form like Rashford very, very quickly. And I just don't think it's worth being negative about Martial at the moment because we don't really have anything else. And I think he's going to be very important for us between now and the end of the season because we're not getting Gakpo. He's gone to Liverpool. We're not getting a striker. At best, we're going to get João Felix. And at worst, we're going to end up with somebody we don't really want. So Martial's very important to us. I don't think now is the time to start writing him off. And he does do a lot of work off the ball, and it is a graveyard shift. And it's not like this chance after chance after chance. Yes, he should have scored from the Casemiro cross, but no, I don't think it's all doom and gloom with Martial. I think it's the main thing is that he's playing, he's fit, and hopefully that can continue. Garnacho, I thought was a breath of fresh air. Came on for obviously Donny. I'd give him a 6.5. Very unlucky not to get a goal. Took a couple of bad tackles as well. I wasn't happy with Bournemouth. There was one straight from the kick-off where he got kicked from behind and the player got a yellow. There was the other one where the other player got the yellow, and that was just vicious. A referee, I've played the game, and although it didn't look like a red card, he knew exactly what he was doing. He was going through the back of the player to get the ball, and that's reckless. And, we could be looking at another injury there. So I think Casemiro was targeted quite nastily by Bournemouth, and I didn't like that. But, look, very exciting player. Casemiro, as always, says James. And I've Mark, been watching since the start of COVID. Boss, seeing United on the up again, says Luke OG. Cheers, mate. Hope you're doing well. I thought Garnacho did really well. And as I keep saying with Garnacho, every 45 minutes he gets is 45 minutes in the first team. And we're becoming accustomed to it now. I think a few weeks ago, Garnacho was playing and it was like, oh, this is exciting. He's now regularly getting minutes. He's becoming a regular fixture in the team. And that's only a good thing. Brandon says, you've made me start believing in this club again. So glad we've got Ten Hag to lead us. Thank you very much, Brandon. Great to see. Make sure you smash a like on the video, everyone. And please do subscribe. We're very, very close to 545,000. So please subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. It's going to be a big month. We've got a game on Friday. We've got, reactions to any transfers, all sorts going on the United Stand. Get involved with the community and subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. We're going to be in the studio in a minute with Ricky and co, chatting about the game as well. Interested to see what Ricky says about Rashford, actually. Make sure you put that in the chat. This is why we needed Gakpo and we need Felix. We are really weak up front and they could play anywhere in the attack. Exactly, Jack. I don't think we need an out-and-out striker at the moment. We do need one, but at the moment I think we need flexibility. João Felix would be perfect. 6.5 for Delo. Looked very lively when he came on. Really happy to have him back. Superstar right back. What a season he's having. Again, I thought Fred, 6.5, came on and played well. Really, really pleased with him. That's key rotational player coming off the bench and doing a good job. Alanga, look, it's a 6 again. I mean, we've got to do something with Alanga because he's so consistent now. It's the same performance every time he comes off the bench. And you know what that performance is. It's just very average. There's no trajectory. And this has been going on for about a year. There's no trajectory with Alanga. With Garnacho, you can see the trajectory. He's improving. But with Alanga, he's flatlining. We've got to get him out on loan. I still think there's something there, but he's not. This is not a criticism. You look at Garnacho, he is developing at Manchester United. You look at Alanga, he is flatlining. That means you've got to get him out on loan because he is not developing. So we've got to get him out on loan. But, he was always going to come on today because you've got no Anthony, you've got no Sancho. Donny goes off injured, leaves you with Martial and Rashford. I mean, he's always going to come on. Always going to come on. Great to have Martinez back. Let's give him a 6.5. Ten Hag for me, 7.5. Even give him an 8. Higher than an 8. I'm happy with that. Very happy with that. As I said, so many of these performances over the last week or so have been down to man management, and he is the man managing. Fantastic how he's rotated. Fantastic how he's teaching this team in games that we would traditionally have drawn 0-0. He's teaching them how to win, and that is, the improvement is fantastic. And the run of wins that we're on at the moment as well. We're on a fantastic run. I mean, we're going to beat Everton on Friday. We will beat Charlton on Tuesday. And then it's Man City and Arsenal in a double header that I just can't wait. I just cannot wait for those games. And, this is very, very exciting. Your man of the match is Casemiro. Wow. Well, look, I'm not going to moan about it. I thought Casemiro was fantastic. And at half-time, I thought it was impossible for anybody to take man of the match off him. I thought he was brilliant. But I've got to say, 47% of the vote goes to Casemiro. I've got to say that Luke Shaw, with 33% of the vote, I actually thought he would have won it. So, fair play to Casemiro. David De Gea got quite a few votes as well. But 1 minute. I think Luke Shaw's a little bit unlucky. I think Luke Shaw's a little bit unlucky there because he was fantastic. Luke Shaw was fantastic, and I'm very, very pleased with that Manchester United performance. Very, very pleased indeed. Right, thanks everybody for watching. I'm going to push you over onto the fan forum, which is in the studio with Ricky and Beth. I think Kev might be there as well. So make sure you get over there, and I'm going to be watching as well. Make sure you get in the chat. I want to know, Ricky, what are your thoughts about Rashford? Because he's on fire at the moment, and Rashford, he's never been a big fan of his. So what's he got to say? Let's get over there and see. Thanks everyone for watching. Speak to you in a bit. I'm still live.